In a game of whiff punishing and strong strategies, we have one character that breaks the mold. This character has a unique mechanic that fits her nicely in today's meta, but I want to talk about her more in depth. Of course, we are talking about the character of two top 8s recently being Umeki and Mutace. We have Peach. This is going to be my second video, kind of like the Corrin video, of how Peach fits in the meta. Of course, Peach was very strong early meta, but then a bunch of those DLC characters came out, and for a while Peach was struggling to find her footing, but now in late 2023 meta, Peach is a mainstay. I mean, for all of 2023, Mutace was doing very well, but now we have multiple Peaches breaking the mold with Mutace, Ling, Umeki, and more. So I want to talk about why she is so important in today's meta, why she's good, but of course the things that she still struggles with, which is what you will hear the Peach players complain about. But before that, if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know down in the comments what you would like what characters you want me to talk about more. I would appreciate it. I'm definitely down to do more, so just let me know. But let's talk about Peach and Daisy, but I'm gonna be saying Peach because Daisy is 2 syllables and Peach is 1, so suck it, Daisy players. Of course, the thing that makes Peach good is her float. Float would literally be a broken mechanic on quite literally every character. They have to balance Peach around float like most characters would have infinites with float. I'm actually thinking of doing a tail smash like combo showcase just to show that like it's broken on literally every character, and Peach is no exception. Of course, it makes her combos harder and more difficult in terms of technicality, but they make them broken. Peach is one of the best combo characters in the game, even if her combos are a little bit more difficult than the typical zero to death characters like Ice Climbers or Steve. Oh, and of course Kazuya, that character 0 deaths for free. Of course, you gain access to instant ground height aerials or very low aerials, which means that all of Peach's air moves are essentially her ground moves. And I know I talk about short hop aerials being essentially like committal ground moves because you can do short hop instant aerials and it's basically just you're using a move that would be on the ground. But Peach, they're really on the ground and they are very much so safe. Like I talk a lot about how rising safe aerials like Pikachu forward air are insane because they are essentially a ground move that is safe on shield, that is also a huge combo move that, you know, you can stay mobile with, and Peach, all of her aerials are like that, which is absolutely insane. Typically, rising aerials are unsafe on shield because, of course, they will hit you, especially like a single hit move like Peach Nair or back air would be unsafe on shield because you would be doing a rising Nair, you would hit your opponent's shield, and then you would be in the air for, you know, 15, 20, 30 frames, and of course, that's going to be very punishable. But for Peach, that's not how that works. She gets to do her -6 back air or her -2 Nair just at ground height forever. I think if you are unfloating, you actually do have an extra frame, so it would more so be -3 and -7, but still very, very safe for a move that can come out so quickly, being a short hop, which is 3 frames, or jump, which is 3 frames, 1 frame of float, and then either 5 frames for Nair or 6 frames for back air, so you have either a 9 frame -2 move or a -7 10 frame move. That's crazy. Not only does Peach have float, but she has one of the most broken things universally in the game, which is a held item. Held items are all amazing, especially if you get easy access to them. The 2 that you would mostly think about are Peach's Turnip and Rob's Gyro. Of course, you have Diddy Kong's Banana, although that one's a little different because it has limited uses and you can't just recatch it over and over again because it disappears when you hit your opponent twice. Of course, she does have some mechanics because of float in terms of her item stuff, which is, I think, Peach unique. I could be wrong about that, but basically she can like jump and catch items faster, and also she can like use her float to catch items, which kind of gets you out of the lockout of your item throw animation, which is a little strange. I'm not going to really get into the complexities here, but it essentially just opens up her options even more than a typical item character. She has drag down aerials, she has really versatile disadvantage and recovery because of float. Float is just an amazing tool in general, so of course this character is going to be strong. She hits you once and deals 1,000,000,000% with or without Turnip. She has a very good advantage because she can just stop anywhere in the air and threaten whatever space she wants. She can just get into whatever lower 45 she wants. She can get below you and threaten with her incredibly disjointed up air. Like, float up air when someone's trying to land is kind of just unbeatable unless you have more mobility to simply get away from Peach's juggle. That's why you'll see Mutace go for a lot of up throw when he plays against Riddles' Kazuya or Terry, is he's just like, I'm gonna up throw and up air your attempts to land. If you air dodge the up air, I will just run and grab you or down tilt you or just hit you again regardless, which is really, really strong. Of course, I'm talking about the strengths, so now let's talk about some weaknesses. As I said, her innate speed is not very high. She's not fast in the ground. She's not fast in the air. So if you can stay more mobile against her, that is going to be a huge benefit in your matchup. However, of course, you do need, good moves to kind of also swat her out when she's hitting you, or when you're like trying to be mobile, or like a projectile or something like that, because otherwise she just kind of plays the mix-up game and she wins. Her other main weakness, which honestly, these are kind of her two weaknesses at all, is the fact that she doesn't have great kill potential. If she's not getting those super early combos or like edge guarding you really far off stage, Peach is typically not killing you until something like 140, 160. Again, you might die at 70 if you get hit by a crazy combo, but for the most part, you're going to be living quite a long time against Peach because of course her main kill move being forward air is a little slow, and so it's not easy to avoid, but it's definitely doable to avoid. So typically you're going to die to like nairs out of shield at like 140 or 150 in center, or a ledge trap back air. This, of course, was one of her most important nerfs because before, in pre-patch days, her forward air was stronger, her back throw was stronger, and there was one other thing that was stronger that I don't remember what it was. So she used to have like a better kill throw, like a 130 at the ledge, 120 at the ledge kill throw, and then forward air used to kill like 15 or 20% earlier. So those two nerfs made a significant impact of why she was like top 2 or 3 in the game, as to now why she is, top tier somewhere. Where she is exactly is, of course, debatable depending on who you're talking about. I put her somewhere in top 10, but I would understand people putting her at the edge of top 5 or even like in top 15 or 20. Maybe this is my Pikachu bias, but I don't consider her lack of range super important because she has an item, so she doesn't really have to like force you into guessing situations because she can just run back and get Turnip and then has an item in hand. It's very similar in my opinion to like Pikachu struggles with some range sometimes, but I have Thunder Jolt to help me get in. Peach has Turnip to help her get in as well. So why am I talking about Peach? I feel like she's just an interesting anti-meta pick. Of course, the meta being Game & Watch and Sonic and Steve, and then of course you have like Aegis and Roy and Snake. I feel like Peach does decently well versus all these characters. She doesn't win every matchup, but she always has the tools to win because of her crazy combo game and then her ability to be safe and have incredible mix-ups. If you watch the top Peach players, you are going to see them do float, empty jumps, full hop, float, fast fall. She keeps the neutral, like the close range neutral, more ambiguous than any other character by far, including Fox. Because she doesn't have to ever follow a normal jump arc, if you see Peach in the air, you have to assume she's going to float at any time, which is terrifying. You cannot play a normal game against Peach thinking about her, oh, you're gonna short hop and you're gonna fall and I'm gonna parry your landing aerial. You're gonna full hop. I have these timings down. Peach can alter her timing however she wants. Of course, are there better timings for Peach, especially given certain matchups? Yes, but the mix-up of floating above your head and down airing, floating above your head and trying to do a weak nair tail, combo it into a down tilt at mid%, or doing a float into a fast fall into a grab, a float, a fast fall into a down tilt. There are so many mix-ups available, especially if you have Turnip, because you can also include Z-drops in that, and if the Turnip hits your shield, it's a guaranteed grab. It's a whole mess. This character is crazy, low-key, just limited by the fact that she is difficult, and that, like, not even in terms of just technically difficult, but she is mentally difficult. Like, I can do a lot of float tech, but I cannot play this character in neutral because the options are too many, and remembering how to do all this float stuff when you really need to is incredibly difficult. I feel like the ability for Peach to throw out attacks to wall opponents out or break, like Steve walls, is really, really important. Again, she just breaks the mold when it comes to what you are doing against characters. It's why that Peach, a character with low mobility and, small hitboxes, can contend with Cloud, because Cloud has to do things at very specific timings, whereas Peach does not. If a Cloud full hops over you or short hops over you, as a Peach, you can, float under that and get an aerial up air. It's not even like you're just going to get an up tilt like a worse combo starter. You're going to get up air, which combos into up air, which combos into up air, or up air combos into forward air, hits you off stage. Of course, can use her float to edgeguard or just wait for people to get into a position where she can edgeguard. She can float down air the ledge with 2 frames. She can, of course, edge trap with her back air and her nair, which is insane for her edge trapping. Like, she's just one of the most potent characters when she gets in. So let's talk about when she doesn't. In my opinion, Peach does struggle, like in theory, with several Zoner characters, including Duck Hunt, Samus, Villager, Isabelle. These characters, if you look at a Peach matchup chart, they're always seen as like a hard even or losing. But of course, currently in 2023 Ultimate, it's a quote-unquote losing matchup, like air quotes around it, because it's like losing unless you get the hit and kill them, losing unless you, up air them once and keep them at disadvantage for 30 seconds, losing until you get a better kill confirm, because almost none of those characters other than like Samus have great kill confirms. Like, if people play perfect against Peach, I do think she has a fair amount of losing matchups, probably like 10 or so, but it's so difficult when the character is so explosive. Like, that's like saying Wario or Rob have like those actually like 15 or 20 losing matchups, but they're gonna hit you once and kill you. They're going to play a dominant game and just win anyway, even if you technically could swat them out. You could do all these things. Like, you're probably not going to because of the threat of this character. It's very funny because I feel like a lot of top tiers, like if people want to pick them up, I'm always like, yeah, sure, you can pick them up, but I feel like you don't really secondary Peach. If you're going to play this character, you better be solo maining this character because of the intricacies of her. Of course, she's incredibly mentally difficult, incredibly physically taxing, and that's honestly her main drawback, is the fact that she's hard. So if you aren't incredibly technically proficient and consistent, this character drops off a lot because you're not going to be getting large combos, you're not going to be, hitting your opponent as hard, you're not going to be winning neutral as much, you're going to be missing your out of shield punishes, you're going to be getting punished because you're missing your floats, or you're going to do like float back airs instead of, or like float down airs instead of float nairs. It's a whole thing. It is very difficult, in my opinion, to play this character consistently at a high level. So shout out to, of course, Mudace, Ling, Umeki being the main three. Even Peaches or Daisy players like Sora J from the Northeast, they are incredible as well. This character is terrifying and, one of the craziest meta threats currently, even though I consider her more anti-meta than the meta itself. I feel like currently in meta, Peach is really good at all the stuff I kind of mentioned with Corrin. She's great at forcing air dodges and then punishing them, mostly because of like float up air and then landing nair, or like float up air into like a ground punish, which is insane. She can really focus on her advantage because she hits so hard, both in combos or just like getting you off stage or just like up airing you a billion times. She's a character that has an amazing disadvantage, well, kind of, because of float. I feel like if you lose your resources as Peach, your disadvantage is actually like really bad. If you don't have float, or like the opponent has an amazing up air, it's really hard to get down as Peach. She typically has to go to ledge, but again, the ledge doesn't refresh her float, so you just have to be ready to, punish whatever ground option they're gonna do and then throw them back off stage, and then like they're gonna probably lose float when they're trying to recover. Or like, if you hit Peach above you without float, it is a struggle for her because her fastball air dodge sucks. But the amount of time she'll get back to the stage because she does have float and someone commits early, or like, they misplay around the float, or even the threat of float means people aren't going to be jumping up there, and then the Peach can just like float later. It's actually insane. Like, I feel like her advantage is super strong. Her disadvantage is good enough sometimes, even if not all the time. And she just hits you so hard. So I feel like a combo character with a great advantage state with a versatile disadvantage is always going to be good in today's meta, where the meta is, I'm going to hit you once and kill you because you have to get back to the stage. Peach doesn't have to. Peach can float. Peach can stall off stage. Peach can, linger for like Arsene and stuff like that. It's very, very useful that she has such a versatile game plan. It's not even like, oh, I'm going to look out for the one flip jump at this specific timing or a couple of specific times, then it has to be for this long of an animation. Like, you can float for like 2 frames, or you can float for like 2 seconds. Very different thing. Because of Peach's insane aerials and insane just like burst pressure, you definitely have to play defensive against her. I know that I have got beat into submission. I camp Peaches so hard. I am not approaching without a T-Jolt. I'm gonna T-Jolt, run up, shield, and try to shield their backer that they're gonna backer through my T-Jolt. That's like the only neutral interaction I'm trying to play, because those moves are too scary for me to legitimately fight with nothing. And if you aren't a character that has something that can lead your way into an approach or a sword or something like that, you're gonna have a bad time. I feel like Peach is a very interesting case of just like learning the concepts of Ultimate when you watch Peach players, because they can just ignore some of the aspects of the game but really show off like, oh, up throw is good against Kazuya because you can juggle them. Of course, they're like using float up air and it's making it very difficult for the Kazuya to get down. Oh, you can edge trap in a way where you're just threatening the space, but also that's because they can use a bunch of moves over and over again, which most characters can't do in, a short period of of time because they don't have float. So again, I love watching this character. What do you think about Peach? Do you enjoy watching Peach? Because she's personally one of my favorite characters to watch, even though I don't really like fighting against her, but that's because I've lost so many times. As always, social media and partner stuff is down below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.